He is everything to her. She left her homeland, gave up her abilities that many people dream of to come to him once to save him. Before passing away, she used her life to seal his memories, but she couldn't erase his love for her. By the time his memories restored, she had forever turned into dust. For foxes, fidelity is measured by life. So all his life, he has never loved anyone else but her. Even though he knew they had no chance of meeting again, he still kept that vague love and found every way to be with her again. It is an honor to welcome the former military staff advisor of the Republic of Manda. Konami welcomed Hiroshi with a cold smile and did not leave the leather chair she was sitting on. She signaled the bodyguards standing guard around to come out. When the reception room was just her and the fox, she stood up, approached the fox, and spoke seriously. Have you thought carefully? You know what I came here for. In the demon world, only I have the ability to open the doors of space without being detected by the dead world. After Kaoru died, if you want to see her again, you have to find me, of course. That's right. I want to see her again. Now I understand why Kaoru used her life to seal your memories. She have chosen to leave, want it to ended, why do you keep holding on? I just want to clarify a few things. I hope you open the door for me to see her again. Even if you can only exist there as a ghost and stand by while she goes through pain without doing anything. Hiroshi's emerald eyes opened wide for a moment, revealing a bit of surprise. Obviously Kaoru could come to this place and live normally for a long time, why couldn't he do the same? Because Konami has unbreakable rules. Or is she intentionally forced the fox to give up? Konami poured a glass of blood-red water and gave it to the demon fox, slowly explaining. Our world is really very small, like this glass of water. Your Kaoru comes from a larger world. Peoples have the ability to create one or countless worlds like the one we live in, and freely travel between those worlds to do as they please. Maybe Kaoru also has a similar ability, and she has to trade what she has to survive here as a normal person. Kaoru is not the creator of this world. That's why she was forced to erase all traces before leaving. If the creator of this world discovered the existence of a character not created by that person, everything would definitely change. Hiroshi lifted the glass of water to his mouth, and a scene of his small family appeared briefly under the red water. Once again seeing the things that had disappeared after a series of turbulent days, the fox held the glass of water, because of being afraid that even a small movement would make the beautiful memories reflected in the water disappear. Konami smiled as if she encountered something very interesting. A little frivolous joy from the pain of an uninvited guest made her come up with a crazy plan. The timekeeper of the demon world gently cleared her throat, and the image in the glass of water faded away. The fox demon regained his usual cold expression and looked at the person who had just played with his memories. I've decided, I'll open the door. I just want you to remember one thing. You only have 1 hour of real existence with her. Please choose the right time to appear. I can only help you once. Just 1 hour. Konami nodded and added. My strength is limited. I don't want to leave Dango yet. I got it. Konami takes the fox to the secret land at the end of the flying castle. That place was exactly like the red leaf forest in Kaoru's paintings that decorated the Ayame restaurant in the past. The guardian of time extended her hand into nothingness, cutting a straight line. The forest was cut in half like a wall broken by an invisible external force and moved by gravity. Winds similar to those that appeared on Dimension Road rushed in, blowing through the hair of those present. The timekeeper glanced at the fox and smiled challengingly. What are you still hesitating about? She's behind that fracture. Go quickly before the door of time closes. Hiroshi stepped closer, clear laughter ringing in his ears. It was Kaoru's laughter. Not letting himself hesitate any longer, the fox demon stepped into the fractured space, ignoring the sound of his comrades calling him behind. Dango looked at the shifting space that was recovering to its old state and then looked at Konami. The timekeeper smiled and said, It's late. Let's go home. You knew that place was dangerous but you still didn't stop him. I gave him a choice. And he chooses Kaoru. Dango didn't ask anything more. He quietly followed Konami back to the flying castle. He understood Hiroshi's decision but did not expect his teammates to decide to leave so soon. One day after Kaoru disappeared, the fox demon went to the old scene to investigate. All traces of the previous massacre disappeared, just like the house full of memories of him and Kaoru. The only thing he felt was the breath of another timeline, another pair of eyes that silently watched his every action and disappeared as soon as he looked towards it. That mysterious person still hadn't disengaged him. That person knew that Kaoru had interfered in the fate of the group of former detectives but remained silent and let Kaoru do as she wished. The memories of the last enemy copied by the demon fox in Kaoru's memory gradually faded. He just remembered that the villain said he couldn't forget the past, couldn't forgive himself. He killed everyone present on the beach that day to ease his guilt and then turned and left. Maybe Hiroshi found some clues and went to the rat demon hometown to change the past. Dango's teammates, once determined, no one could stop them. From the moment Hiroshi entered the fractured time stream, memories of the days when Rat Demon existed in this world gradually faded. That was the contract between the demon fox and his teammates. They respected the last wish of the rat demon, so they accepted to drink the special medicine made by the demon fox so that all memories could accompany Hiroshi when the demon fox left this place. I think I should be the first and last person to know about her. When did your memories restore? Actually, I have never forgotten her. Even with memories sealed, that layer of magic was just like a thin mist. All it takes is a gust of wind and it's gone. The last day she was here, I struggled for a long time. I wanted to meet her to apologize, but then I remembered that she wanted me to stay quiet and not call her name again, because of the hidden principles in this complicated world. Are you determined to go there just to say sorry? I still want to clarify some information, especially the identity of the person who killed us. Kaoru once said that person and she lived in the same world. If I succeed, I will bring her back, and this memory will be restored. If I don't come back, we'll go there and drag you back. Dango interrupted. He couldn't stand seeing his teammates become pessimistic and sentimental. Hiroshi forced a smile, nodded slightly in agreement and gave the special medicine to each person in the group. At their last meeting, they volunteered that bitter medicine like drinking water created by the clumsy hands of someone who was not good at mixing it. All memories of Kaoru turned into strips of pale blue light, slowly flying into the medicine bottle in the fox demon's hand. Higa mixed medicine into wine for his mother to drink. That wine reminded the story of the death of a daughter who didn't share the same blood, making Ms. Onko heartbroken and crying even more. After getting drunk, the poor woman put her head down and fell asleep on the wine table, still calling Kaoru, telling the little rat to stay home with her. For the first time, seeing through a mother's thoughts, Higa stood silently for a long time and then returned to where his teammates were meeting. Should we poison Akiko and the Lord Pluto? Tateyama scratched his chin and asked stupidly. I turned this medicine into a mist to poison the whole of death. Hiroshi smiled meaningfully. They're probably absorbed by the medicine now. In the dead world, no one knew mist and toxin were mixed. They still consider the thick layer of fog that dominates space to be a normal thing and still walk and breathe without any doubt. In less than 3 seconds, all the souls and guides fainted. A guard guarding the gate discovered it and quickly ran in to report. My lord, it's a big trouble. All the souls fainted for unknown reasons. Lord Pluto quickly went out to check. As soon as he inhaled the medicine mixed in the mist, the operator of the realm of death also fainted. Before losing consciousness, the leader of the dead realm saw the soldier who had just reported the news also disappear into smoke. Knowing that he had fallen for the trick of his once close friend, the person who controlled the world of death could only mumble, Hiroshi. Poison, and then fainted. Half a day after recovering all memories of Kaoru, the demon fox went to the demon world to find Konami. When he entered the fractured space, everyone forgot about Kaoru, forgot all feelings for the mysterious girl. They just assumed the fox was on a dangerous mission in another dimension. To avoid being suspected by their opponents, they were forced to act alone and only assist when they received a signal for help. The story of the last meeting full of former detectives gradually faded into oblivion. Konami leaned back on the dark leather chair and slowly closed her eyes. The image of a fox flickering in a strange world appeared in her mind. The monster guarding the time informed her trusted bodyguard. Your teammates have arrived. That's fast too. Hiroshi will be back soon. Dango smirked. Shall we bet? Bet how soon he will return. If you win, I will let you try my seat. If I win, you must stay here with me for 3 years and not appear in the human world. Start guessing. 3 months. Dango boldly concluded. Half a year. Konami smirked. Either way, you're here with me. Dango did not answer. He touched Konami's forehead and read what the timekeeper had just recorded. The place Hiroshi just arrived at is quite similar to the human world, but quieter and with fewer people. The fox demon was sitting next to a 7-year-old child, watching her play in the sand alone and saying something. The boring and tasteless one-way communication suddenly ended when someone threw dirt on her head. Several boys of the same age surrounded the girl, teased her, beat her, and pushed her into a nearby shallow hole. A little fun wasn't enough to satisfy the crowd. They also threw more garbage and animal carcasses into the hole and ran away, leaving behind heartless gloating laughter. The poor girl climbed out of the hole in silence. As soon as her hand grasped the mound in front of him, it bled. A piece of glass mixed in with the soil stuck out and stabbed into her palm. She looked at her bleeding hand, wiped away her tears, and continued to rescue herself from that dark, dirty place. The small figure walked quietly on the deserted road, occasionally looking at her injured hand and tears welling in her eyes. Now she felt pain and was afraid of the drops of blood flowing from her own body. Someone blocked her path as she reached the gate, grumbling in an annoyed voice. Study with practice. Just come back now. Your body stink like an owl. I just fell. Where do you keep your eyes? Still standing there indifferently. Get out of my sight. That girl went into the bathroom, cleaned herself of all the dirty things, and bandaged herself. Throughout the night, the wound was infected with fever. Hiroshi sat by the bed, doing everything he could to treat that poor child, but all the medicine he made couldn't touch her. He could only watch her helplessly fight her illness. Konami's warning suddenly returned. Hiroshi laughed at himself for taking the timekeeper's prophecy lightly. Now he understands how painful he was to just stand and watch the person he loved fought alone with everything. That girl slowly raised her hand towards the demon fox. He also held the hand wrapped in a thin layer of bloody gauze, even though he couldn't touch it or feel the familiar warmth in his memories. That arm slowly lowered and everything was completely still. Hiroshi shook his head slightly when he saw the steady rhythm of breathing still being maintained. That girl was more resilient than the fox demon ever thought. As soon as she got a little better, that girl sat up and suddenly looked towards where the demon fox was sitting, stared as if she wanted to confirm something. It moved closer, reaching out towards its blood-red hair. The fox demon could only sit still and motionless, then breathed a sigh of relief when he saw the little girl take out the notebook hidden in the corner of the wall behind her and start taking notes. The white pages were gradually filled with black letters. All the names that have ever hurt him were written in that notebook. Ending the diary filled with sadness and hatred, she put the notebook on the bed, removed the bandage, pressed the blood in the small wound onto the page she had just written on and hid the diary in its original place. At that moment, an amorphous patch of darkness with a pair of sharp eyes appeared behind it, stared at the fox demon. The dark power awakened too early. That girl is about to get into trouble, Konami commented. Let's see how your teammates handle it. Living in such a society, there are only 2 ways to survive: compromise or resistance. Only a fool would choose to compromise with evil. It's better to stand up and fight once than to make fun of them. Who came up with this philosophy? Just combat experience. Most of the people who came out of the darkness had pasts similar to or more terrible than that girl. After all, only humans play foolishly like that. Torturing fellow human beings to destroy one's own way of life. Happy for a moment, regret for a lifetime. Dango smirked. The comments and laughter of followers cannot reach the place where Hiroshi exists. He still followed that girl for a long time, secretly reading the thoughts of the person who was mistreated by his peers and then smiled in extreme disappointment. At this time, she still did not know about the existence of the demon fox, and was still silently suffering from the hurt. It still has a vague belief that one day, the bad guys will let it go. Or at least it will find a real human in a world of evil beasts disguised as humans.